rebirth of the Orpheum Theater. Once a grand vaudeville and movie palace at the corner of 6th and Pierce Streets, the Orpheum opened in 1927 in the heart of busy downtown Sioux City. The theater was financed by local businessman Art Sanford, a successful entrepreneur with a strong sense of community. Sanford's new 2,700-seat Francis Orpheum Theater was built at a cost of $1.75 million. Designed by the famous Chicago architects Rapp and Rapp, the Sioux City Orpheum boasted spectacular chandeliers, a gold leaf-covered dome, and the grandest of lobbies. The theater was also air-conditioned, a rare luxury in 1927, and its marquee boasted, "It's refreshingly cool inside Sioux City's own summer resort." Besides movies and traveling shows, the Orpheum was home to local performances and events, including Sioux City Symphony concerts, the Junior League Follies, the Sioux City Concert Course, the Policeman's Ball, weddings, and children's dance recitals. Over the years, lifestyles and entertainment tastes changed. There was television in every home, and hunger for live entertainment began to wane. In 1968, the Orpheum Theater was converted to a modern movie theater, and the stage shows came to an end. The loge boxes were destroyed, and 20 feet of the balcony was removed. The upper floors, mezzanine, and lounges were blocked off, and a drop ceiling was installed, hiding and preserving the incredible architecture, painting, and plaster above. In 1982, the theater was twinned, or cut into two small movie houses, and a wall of sheetrock was placed down the center aisle. The movie theater was operational until 1992, when for the first time in 65 years, the Orpheum Theater went dark. In 1988, a couple of young people with a video camera explored the dark, empty upper floors of the Orpheum that were no longer accessible to the public. This little adventure proved to be a pivotal point in the theater's future. Armed with that video, the Siouxland Dance Association approached the Iowa Department of Cultural Affairs for a grant to determine the feasibility of restoring the Orpheum. That same year, the Orpheum Theater Preservation Project, the OTPP, was created to spearhead a public fund drive to match the grant given by the state. Several years passed before a temporary marquee was unveiled to announce that the theater restoration was underway, but the project was still a long way from reality. Some early estimates of nearly $12 million were overwhelming. A limited amount of demolition was done to remove the drop ceiling in the theater. It revealed a magnificent proscenium arch and confirmed what the board members had hoped. Much of the original painting and plaster was intact.
It seemed that a lot of people had questions about why spend $10, $12 million restoring an old building when we could potentially build a new building, which of course you could never build a new building, free-span building like a theater for $10 or $12 million. It would have probably been more like 25 or 30 million. But it took a lot of selling, and I think what sold that the most was when we finally demoed out the inside of the theater and could bring people in and let them see really what we were talking about, the ornateness of the theater and what was inside. I don't think most people perceived, including myself early on, the level of finish and everything that was inside the theater until after they got in there.
I think the community had forgotten what was here and what this theater was, so nobody really knew or understood the theater. And it wasn't an easy task. There were many other things going on in the community that the community felt were more important than the theater.
The OTPP board contacted Ray Shepherdson, a theater restoration specialist, after seeing a front-page feature in the Wall Street Journal, and invited him to visit the Orpheum. At the time, Shepherdson was working on the Hanna Theater in Cleveland, one of more than 35 theater renovations he supervised.
I think the first day Ray walked in, he didn't expect to find a theater like this in Sioux City. He expected to find a little tiny theater. He couldn't believe what was here, that this is one of the major vaudeville houses or major theaters left in the United States. So he was almost in disbelief.
Soon after that visit, the OTPP board hired Ray Shepherdson. Because of his extensive experience, Ray was able to show the board how the project could become a reality for several $1 million less than earlier estimated. Those dollars were later used for improvements beyond the original plans.
What brought me here is one of the most magnificent movie palaces remaining in America, surprisingly enough. The theater was originally designed by the architectural firm of Rapp & Rapp out of Chicago, and amazingly enough, it's one of their finer buildings. I think we restored the Orpheum in Minneapolis, and I think it's much more spectacular than the Minneapolis Orpheum. And I was just in Omaha. I'm biting my tongue, but I like this building a lot better. I don't like the double balcony. I think you have much better acoustics because the room is very vertical here, which is what you want in a concert hall for acoustics, and it has great volume. So it was the quality of the building. At my age, I don't mess with buildings I don't love, and I absolutely adore this place.
Ray Shepherdson was key to getting this project done. We were stalled before Ray Shepherdson came on the scene. We had some estimates that were in the $12+ million range to do the theater.
Quietly, major fundraising began. Less than a year later, a press conference was held to announce the generous gifts of $1 million each from the Kind World Foundation and the Waite Family Foundation. Both foundations also gave another $1 million towards an endowment fund. This announcement kicked off the public fundraising campaign, and $12 million was raised over the course of a year.
The biggest surprise was the ability to raise the funds in a short period of time and get it launched and completed in such a short time frame. Really, that definitely was a surprise.
It's not only a worthwhile kind of project, but it's really a great value. It's like a real bargain. In this day and age, bargains are few and far between. The theater really is quite amazing. I also love the fact that many of the original finishes are intact, and I like to sort of preserve, whenever possible, the original finishes. It keeps the ghosts happier. A lot of the original fixtures are still here, which is kind of